Hello everyone and welcome to this video of Adobe Premiere Pro, and in this video we're basically going to learn about the source panel in our Adobe Premiere Pro software. Okay, so let's begin learning about it. Okay, so now here you can see that we have our source panel right over here on the upper left side. As far as my workspace is concerned, your workspace, according to your workspace, it might be in a different location, but I'm using the editing workspace, so this is what my workspace will look like. Okay, now the source panel in Adobe Premiere Pro is a workspace area where you can preview and select media files that you have imported into your project panel. It provides you with various tools and options to manage and work with your source footage. So first, you have to have a couple of files over here. May it be videos, audios, or both, or even an image. You have to make sure you put it in the project file in order to use your source, or else your source panel is just gonna be blank and it will produce nothing. Okay, now first let's go ahead, and in order to put our video inside our source panel, we can just click and drag it over here, or we can just double click over here and the image will be added. The video, image, or audio will be added over here respectively. Okay, now after that, you may notice that we have a couple of options over here. I'll be going through them entirely for you. First, we have the playhead position. What this will do is basically, if you scroll it right or left, after you click on it, you will be able to control where you can basically place your playhead on the play area over here, okay, on your playing timeline. And afterwards, we have the zoom level where you can zoom to 10%, 25, 100, 200, even more, 400. You can do that too. It is best to just leave it at the fit option, where it will fit every part of the video into your screen. Okay, and another thing you can do is basically undock this panel, and then you can just move it to another you can move it to another second screen that you have, and then use it there. Okay, I'm just gonna select it and then put it again in my panels over here. Then afterwards, what I'd like to do is basically go over here and teach you about this option, which is the select playback resolution. What this option will do is help you to reduce the stress or lag on your computer when you're using Premiere Pro. Now, this will basically help you while you're trying to play videos on the source monitor. If you have like a full resolution, it will take up more RAM, and if you go lower, it will take lesser. But don't worry, it does not affect the end product. In the end product, you will always have the full resolution. Okay, you don't need to worry about it being half or quarter. It'll always be full. Okay, now one other thing you need to know, that these two options are not displayed for me. This is because sometimes some computers will not have this option displayed. It depends on your computer mostly. Okay, so now let's stop the video, go here. I'll explain this to you, and over here you will see that we have this bar. What this bar basically does is increase the number of play area that we have. For example, if I play the video and make it small, you can notice that the head is moving faster. This is not because our video is short. It is because we actually made our play area over here smaller, so that we can basically select this area, scroll it to the point that we want, and see it in a bit more detail. Okay, now let's go back to the normal view. All right, and afterwards, what I'd like to teach you is how to select the audio or the video for your sequence over here, okay, in the sequence panel. But before that, let's go ahead and learn these options that are available to us. First option here is to add a marker. Okay, now for example, let's say in this video I want to add a marker right over here in the midpoint, so I can add a marker. Now what this will do is basically tell you the important positions or parts of your video that you want to mark in. All right, and it will help you to basically say, for example, I want to select a marking point from here and marker point from here. I want to select this amount of clip from our video over here. Okay, now I cannot just drag this into my sequence over here or just insert it. Okay, and you will see that the whole video, if I just do that over here, I can add this video from our source to the sequence panel just by clicking and dragging, or just select the insert option. I can do that too. Here you can see that I have the markers as well. Okay, now you can see that even after added markers, it will not give me the only parts that I need. Now in order to do that, we have to actually go over here. For example, say I added this marker over here. Okay, now when I select the marker, you'll notice that it will take me to that timeline. Okay, now if you want to also edit your markers, you can double click on it, select the marker name, comment it, select the marker color, chapter marker, etc. Everything is over here. Okay, now let's press the close button, and afterwards what I'd like to do is take this significant part from our video. So in order to do that, first we have to use the mark in and mark out options. And here you can see that the shortcut over here is representing itself as I and O. So now what I'll do is basically I'll use the keyboard and mark in and mark out. So for mark in, I know it's I, so I selected I from my keyboard. Let's press space to play the video. Okay, or we can just my bad, let's just Control Z undo that. Now I can just select the marker over here and then select mark out, or just press O on my keyboard. Okay, now that I'm done, here you can see that I have some options to choose from, but these are basically telling me that I have basically added markers and a marker to my video. Okay, and now if I insert it, you'll notice that only the part that I have marked has come into my video. Select and delete it, just put it over here. Okay, let's just do this again. Now if I insert it, I'll have this, and now if I play it, you'll notice that this is my end result. I have only selected this part of my basic video over here. Okay, now let's select it and delete it, move the playhead back. Okay, now another thing we can do with our mark in and mark out options is basically we can move it. Okay, now how do you move the marker? You can just select the 3 bars over here in our marker, select it, and then we can move our markers, I mean mark in and mark out area, and then we can select any part of the video that we need very easily. Say I want to select the end part, yes, we can do that. The beginning, yes, that also, and even the basically any part of my video area. Okay, all right, after that we have the go to option. Now if I select these 2 options, you will see that since I marked in, it will select the mark in and mark out options only. But if I want to remove this mark in and mark out option, I just select the right click option and then select clear out, and now you can see that everything is gone. Okay, now let's just select this marker over here, then delete it. Okay, so this is how you delete markers, right? So now what I want to do is basically teach you how to use the keyboard up, left and right keys to move forward one frame or move backward. Now you can see that as I'm pressing the left arrow key, it is moving back one frame at a second. Okay, if I just click and hold, this is what will happen. All right, if I press the up and down keys, up is for the beginning of the video, down is for the end of the video. All right, so here we have the one step forward frame, and this is basically the same thing that we used with our left and right keys. Okay, afterwards what I'll teach you is basically the insert. Now I already showed it to you how it works. If you select the mark in and mark out part from our video, and afterwards if we select insert, you'll notice that it has inserted it inside our sequence panel. Now let's delete that and let's go ahead and show you the next option, which is overwrite. Now before doing that, I want to show you some options with our insert. Okay, let's say I can select this and increase the marker option, or I can just directly go here, clear in and out, and I added the full video over here. Okay, now what I want to do is basically use another video over here in my source panel. So let's double click on this video, and here you can see that it's a video of lights flickering. Okay, now let's say that I marked in and out of like 5 seconds, and I want 5 seconds of this video to play in the beginning. Okay, now instead of just like, let's say our video ended from here, so okay, if our video ended up to here, we can just go over here and select insert, and now you'll see that after the end of this video, it will basically add up to the end. All right, now what will happen if I go to the front and select insert? Okay, now let's do it. Now after doing that, you can notice after I inserted it, it will basically move to the front of our video, and then it will play the whole video after the first video is done. Okay, and now here you'll notice there is no gap. There is a perfect transition from this video to this video. All right, so this is what the insert option basically does. And now I'll teach you what override does, and as its name suggests, it will override a video. Okay, so let's say over here I want to overwrite this part of my video. I can just select this and it is done. Okay, you'll still notice since this clip is small, some parts have not been overwritten. And now if I play the video, this is what it will look like. Okay, so this is what override exactly does. It overrides the video from the source panel to your sequence. Okay, let's press Ctrl Z. And if I just go to the beginning and also select override, you'll notice that it overrides the whole video, which I certainly don't want. Okay, now over here, after that, we have the export frame option. Okay, let's double click on this, and let's say I want to export a part of this video over here. Okay, or an image of this video. I can do so basically by going to the part that I want to take from my video. Let's say I go over here, or let's go back. Okay, this is the part I want. Now let's select that, and you can see that the shortcut is Ctrl+Shift+E. And here it is asking me the name for my export frame. This format option over here will basically tell you what format you want. I want to select JPEG, and afterwards you can just browse where you want to put it. I'm going to put it in my desktop, and let's select stills over here and select this folder and then press OK. All right, now I'll just go to the folder where I have the stills, And now you can see that this image is over here. If I double click, okay, there we have it. This is a very high quality image, as you can see, and we can even use this as a thumbnail if you want. Okay, now I'm going to compare this still with the full resolution over here. Let's select the full resolution. Then I'm going to export it again, press OK, and now if I go back to my folder, okay, now here you can see that there is no change. There's significant little changes. The picture might be a bit better than before. As you can see, there's no changes to it at all. Anyways, let's go back to Premiere Pro for now. And this is basically what you need to know about our tools over here. Okay, now let me again give a brief overview. This is our preview window, which is located at the top of the panel. The preview window displays the live preview of the selected media file. You can play, pause, and scrub through the footage to review it before adding it to your timeline. We have the playback controls over here, which is below the preview window. Here you will find the playback controls that allow you to play, pause, go to previous or next frame, and navigate through your media file. Then we have the in and out points, which you can set to define the portion of media file that you want to use. These points help you select significant segments of the footage for editing or extract clips to use in your project. After that, we have the markers, and the source manual provides this as a way to add markers to your media file, which help you to identify important sections or note specific moments in the footage for reference during the editing process. All right, so additionally, we have this option over here, which is for the settings for our source panel. If I click on it, you will see that we have these options. Okay, then we have the composite video, alpha. Now, if you want to see the audio or video of your file, let's say I select this. Now, if I go back to my options, now you can see that the audio waveform is present. And what this audio waveform will do is basically select the audio only from your video. Okay, and from here you can see the waveforms, or basically the audio's pattern in the source panel. Now, since this video does not have an audio, this is why it's not working. Let's go ahead and enter an audio. Okay, this one's good. All right, now if I double click on this and then go to audio waveform, now you'll notice that I have some audio over here. And here is showing me that the audio is there, as you can clearly see. Okay, so this is the audio waveform. After that, if I click on alpha, the whole screen will go to white. Then we have the VR option, which you can use if you have a VR video, the monitor ambisonics. And here we have playback resolution, paused resolution, playback, high quality playback. Okay, and loop, which will loop your entire video after you just basically ended it. Show transport controls. Now, if I click on show audio time units, you'll notice that the audio time units are basically displayed over here as well. Now, if I basically scroll it, you'll notice that it is playing sound over here only. Okay, and if I scroll this part, it's still showing me the sound. Let's go ahead and turn it to a composite video. All right, let's go ahead and go back this part where I can show drop frame indicators. Okay, and here you can see that it will basically tell us if we dropped any frames in our Adobe Premiere Pro videos that we are using in our source. Afterwards, we have the time ruler numbers. Here you will see that it displays the time that has passed very easily. If I just zoom out, you can see that it's more easily displayable. Let's go back and just uncheck this. Now it's very, now it's more easier to see than before. Afterwards, we have the safe margins, which will basically help you to see if your content is inside the video. Afterwards, we have the transparency grid. All right, then we have overlays and also overlay settings. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the next part where you have this button editor. Now, if you notice that when I click on it, we have the button editor pop up, and here we can select all these buttons that are placed over here. Okay, this is basically a space. Now you can just place it over here to add spaces. Okay, this is not a button, this is just to add space. Then we have toggle proxies. We already know this. Safe margins, you can also add it over here so that you don't have to go to settings. Then we have gang source and program, you can do that too. After that, we have toggle VR display video. Yes. Loop playback. Yep. Now here we have another option to play video in and out. We can select that. Okay. Then we have go to next marker, go to previous marker, as you can clearly see. You can add that as well. All right, so these are all the options over here. If I press on OK, this is what my set of this is what my options will look like over here for me. Okay, so let's go back and turn to 1/4, and yes. Okay, so make sure you practice this. Add some files over here, make sure it has audio, and also you can add an image over here. For example, I added this image. Okay, we can also just click on this and add it to my file. Now let's say I add more seconds over here. I can do that also. Since this is an image, it's very easy to add more time to it. Now if I play it over here, you'll notice that it is just a still image. Okay, there's no basic audio or anything over here. It's just a still image. All right, so let's go over here, and all right, so that was all for this video. So I hope you understood how to use the source panel in our Adobe Premiere Pro software. Make sure you practice this by using different files, and then you have to make sure you know the mark-in and mark-out options, because they will save you a lot of time. Trust me, it is very important to use that. And let's go ahead and reset the layout over here. Press OK. Now it's back to normal, just the way I like it. Okay, so thank you for watching this lesson, and I'll see you in the next video.